everybody, Jerome Maldonado. I had a ton of people coming to me asking me, Jerome, how do you get the best price when you're doing a value add project, a remodel, or even new construction? And so I sit in front of one of my supply houses that I've been utilizing for many, many years. Now, when I say one of my supply houses, it's because they're one of many. And the reason they're one of many is because in order to get the best prices, it takes legwork. What a lot of contractors will do, especially once you get to a certain level, is they'll hire out to 1 or 2, maybe 3 suppliers for different scopes of materials. And it's more of an ease of convenience to have 1 supplier, 2 suppliers, even 3 suppliers. Now, when I first got started, and even to this day, now we have a Rolodex of suppliers that we utilize regularly that give us the best deal. But we don't just hold our breath and hope that they still give us the best prices. We still go out and facilitate bid work from all of our subcontractors all the way down the board, from our lumber packages, our trusses, our plumbers, our electricians, our concrete guys, and then even our finished trim people, from our doors, our trim work, our sinks, our fixtures, our light fixtures, plumbing fixtures, everything all the way down. And so for the longest time, Rax has been one of our biggest suppliers for lumber. Now, there was a day and age pre-recession that nobody could beat Home Depot. And at that time, I used to shop everybody. I used to go to Hunter Lumber, ProBuild, ProSource, tons of different suppliers that were national and local suppliers. I did find that most local suppliers for lumber were less expensive than national suppliers. They just don't have the infrastructure and of corporate employees that they have to facilitate, so their prices are typically a little bit lower. So I typically for lumber go with local suppliers. Now, pre-2008, Home Depot used to have a pro desk, and they still do today. But they used to be able to take them your prints. They would do a breakdown for you, and I would take them my best prices, and they would always beat them by 10%, 15%. And I always saved thousands of dollars on my lumber packages buying them through Home Depot. Big box Home Depot, right? Well, that's not always the case. Now I go to Home Depot and my prices are 10, 15% higher than my local guys. So post 2008, the supplier I'm standing in front of now has been my supplier for lumber. They also supply my drywall. They also supply some of my stucco products and other stuff. But they've been a big source provider for trusses and even windows for the longest time. Our windows have come from these guys for many, many years. Now we use Pella and Anderson windows, and we use local reps, just depending on the class of real estate that we're doing. But when we're going in and we're doing remodels, I'll shop everybody. And what I'll do is I'll have the girls in my office, and if you're expanding and you're growing and you're doing multiple projects at the same time, really you could do this with a good project manager, one admin, and yourself. Now, when I first got started, it was myself. I was the admin. I was the one calling. And I still to this day, when I don't believe that my prices, I'm meeting my budget prices, I'll pick up the phone. I'll say, hey, these prices look skewed. What's the deal? You know, we sit in a day and age where we're having hyperinflation of all types of materials, labor, everything that you can name under the board is going up exponentially, right? And so now more than ever, I want to make sure that I'm exercising my bids to be able to get the best price and the best quality for that price. So one of the arm's length transactions that we do regularly is online with Wayfair and some of the other online suppliers for plumbing fixtures, bathtubs, even lighting fixtures. Now, I like buying local. I'll tell you guys, I'd rather pay a small margin more to buy local than I will to save a buck online, only for the convenience of exchanges and returns. Because construction, as you guys know, there's variables. There's theft, there's replacement, people break things. Most of the subcontractors, their employees, they don't deliberately break things, but through the means of being careless or on accident, when you're building something as big as a house, or you're renovating something as big as an apartment complex, and you're facilitating business day in, day out, and you have a lot of trade labor going through there, things are gonna get misplaced, things are gonna get broken. Sometimes we'll lose a lamp to a light fixture, and when you don't buy local, you'll end up paying more. And so the way we pay less is sometimes by paying a small margin more, because when you look at the big picture, for sake of convenience, you don't have to repurchase things 2 times because you purchased something, someone on site broke it or took it or something to that nature, and now you're scrambling locally to try to find something quick to be able to sell a house, finish your renovations, or get something that you could have otherwise gotten locally for a small margin more. So to be able to facilitate the best prices and be able to get the best deal and make the most bang for my buck, I shop things. I'm always diligent about going out and shopping suppliers all the time. So if I'm shopping drywall, I'll call 2 or 3 different drywall suppliers. I'll ask them what their sheets of 4 foot by 8 foot and 4 foot by 12 foot sheets of drywall are. What's the difference in their cost between their 1/2 inch and their 5/8 inch sheetrock? Those are real easy questions when you get on the phone with a drywall company. I'll just Google local drywall suppliers or sheetrock suppliers, and so, or gypsum suppliers. It's called gypsum board. And so sheetrock's like the Coca-Cola. That's like a brand name. And so it's gypsum board. And so gypsum board suppliers. And so we'll call them and we'll find out who gives us the best deal. When we get our plans back from our architects or our draftsmen, we put our plans out to bid to at least 3 or 4 truss companies and 3 or 4 lumber companies, and then we see what the price per 2x6 is at each given length, the price per 2x4 is at each given length, the price for the sheets of 4x8, what's called OSB, which is plywood, particle wood, 1/2 inch, and our 5/8. Because we can use that to sheet our houses, we can use that for our decking. So one thing that we do on renovations sometimes is gypsum board, exterior gypsum board, in times past has been less expensive than plywood. So what we're going back to and shopping now is what material variances can we utilize that gives us the same finished quality for a lower price. And so we went back and we were shopping metal stud frames for new builds. And we thought, well, let's check and see if metal studs are less than 2x6's wood frame. And so we went back, we shopped it, and lo and behold, we found out that it's not. It's still, even in spite of how expensive lumber is right now, metal stud is still more expensive. It hasn't been since the late 90s that metal stud framing in some instances was less expensive than general lumber. And so it's still less expensive labor-wise and material-wise to go out and build stick frame, which is wood construction. Now, same thing with like gypsum board. We'll go out and get prices. We'll see what our suppliers are producing for our gypsum board, our insulation, our lumber, our 2x6s, our 2x4s per unit, right, per stick. And then I sit back and go to the supplier that I like most, and I say, hey, all your prices are real good. You have some wins and some loses on your plywood's better per sheet, but your 2x6s are more expensive per stick. And we have $7,000 worth of 2x6s. We could save $1,500 by going with this other supplier. Can you work with us in that regards? And so a lot of times the suppliers will come back, and you have to be willing to speak up and voice your ability to be able to get a better price on materials. You got to be able to speak up and ask them for the prices. If you don't speak up, you're not going to get them. So the way we get our best prices is by shopping them and by speaking up. We talk to people. We talk to our subcontractors. We tell them, hey, look, we like you. We want to use you. And I want to select the guy that I like the best or the gal that I like the best. I want to pick the materials that I like the best. I want to talk and work with a supplier that I like the best. And sometimes that supplier or that individual is just substantially more expensive. But if you communicate with them, you talk to them, and you show them reason, and you're not just trying to cut their left arm off to make a lost profit, there's usually a little bit of give and take. A lot of times, the professional will explain to you what the variances are between product quality of what they're using and what the other person is utilizing, and then you can make a logical decision as to whether you utilize the inferior or the superior product and whether there's a value there. Now, like for doors, for example, I'll use hollow core doors. Why? Because when I was younger, I remember I would use solid core wood pine doors because my mom and dad put them in their house when they built it custom. We were younger. That doesn't mean that that's what sells homes. That's just what I was accustomed to seeing because my mom and dad used it. But every time I clicked on in these big mansions of the rich and famous, they had these piece of junk, hollow core, 6-panel or 2-panel doors that were a third the price of the solid core doors. And so I thought, well, shoot, if these guys could put these in $1 million homes, I could put them in my $500,000 homes and shouldn't have any issues. And lo and behold, I didn't. Again, windows, same thing. How do I remodel for less? There's what's called builder series windows. They're energy efficient. They comply with energy codes. They comply with building codes. And people don't buy homes typically based on windows. Now, there are some extremely educated buyers. You might get one out of every 100 people come by and say, hey, I had wood Eagle brand windows or wood Pella brand windows in my last home. Why do you guys use vinyl windows? And then it's like they're energy efficient, they're good quality, they last a long time, and that's what the mass majority of builders are using right now. That's an upgrade item, custom built homes that are built to suit. Sometimes people will opt into them, but they're substantially more expensive. We can give you that, but it's gonna cost you 3 times the cost of these vinyl windows to be able to put those in. So if you're remodeling and you want something that's good quality, that doesn't take away from the value of what you're building, but still offers you quality and longevity, double pane, energy efficient vinyl windows, builder series, very super simple. They work all day long and they'll save you thousands upon thousands of dollars in your remodels and in your new construction. So when you go out and you're shopping for products and materials, it's very important that you guys kind of self-educate yourselves as to what suppliers offer you the best deals and what products are the easiest for your tradespeople to work with, so that way you're saving money not only on the materials but also on the products. Not only the materials, but also on the labor to install those products. So nonetheless, continue to shop. Go deep as far as learning where you get the best deals and the best prices. A lot of times I'll have 2-3 builds going on at one time, and in one local area, 2-3-4 builds going on in another area at the same given time. And once I find something that's cost effective, I just implement that on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 builds, or for the entire year. And then the next year I reshop it again and just get confirmation that my prices and budgets are still the best that I have in the industry, because we tend to see things slowly creep up and appreciate in value over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, so forth and so on. So to get the best deal for your remodels, continue shopping, know the difference of what your suppliers are providing, and get good quality products. Sometimes it's not always the best price that gets you the best return long term. Sometimes it's the best quality at the best price that'll give you the best returns. And that's how you go out and save money and give yourself the best quality product at the end of the day that's gonna last, have longevity, and be more reliable for you, your customers, and those you're working with. At the end of the day, it's you and it's your reputation.